everyone. So we'll get started standing up. Bring yourself up to stand anywhere you like on your mat. And just let's start by thinking about the positioning of the feet. So you might kind of take your time, I'm already doing it. You might sort of take your time to kind of give the feet a bit of a wiggle, press them into the floor, sort of notice how you naturally distribute your weight. So one of the things that is interesting when we start to kind of come back every time to this sensation of what's going on in the feet is sort of tapping into the way the body balances itself. So we're starting to think about maybe the positioning of the feet, that maybe want to think about being hip width distance apart. You might pick up all your toes, spread them out wide and lay them down on the mat to feel the sensation of the arch on the inside of the foot start to engage. I'm just going to check that I've got my timer running, otherwise this might end up being the world's longest yoga practice, because I am a terrible judge of my own time when I get into it. So let's just, there we go. Okay, so coming back to that standing position, finding your footing. That sensation that sometimes I talk about, you might have heard me talk about before, of letting go of rigidity and holding at the knee. Just see if you can find just a tiny little bit of give in the knees. Not so much that you're sitting in a squat and it becomes work, but just a little bit of give in the knees. Let the arms hang heavy, and we're just going to begin by kind of dropping into the body. Any little wiggles you need to make through the shoulders and the neck to find yourself comfortable here, you're welcome to make them. You might choose to close your eyes, or you might bring your gaze to look down towards the floor, but we're just going to start with a kind of quiet moment of observation, really, noticing how the body feels. Noticing what's here in this moment. Who is here? Which version of yourself has shown up on the mat today? And it might be that you start off in the body looking for sensations that you can name. And as you identify them, you might just make a little mental note of what's happening there, so that you can then move on and look for the next sensation. But eventually you might come to sensations or feelings or emotions which are sort of nameless. And we can just observe these in the same way that we observe the feelings and sensations and emotions that we can identify. We just watch what they are, how they interact with the body, physically, emotionally. We're just watching. See if you can come to notice the breath in the body. Tempting though it is, see if you can avoid rushing in to change that breath or make it in some way more yogic, and see if instead you can just let the breath be exactly as it is. Easy, relaxed, comfortable. When you feel ready, there is absolutely no rush, you take your time. We're going to start to integrate a simple movement with the breath. So on our inhale, we're going to turn our palms to face up and inhale the arms up and out left and right. So as if you were kind of broadening your wingspan. And as you exhale, you're going to turn the palms over and simply let the hands float back down by your sides. So we'll keep it really slow. Match it up to your easy, relaxed breath. Allow for those natural pauses, maybe at the top of the breath, maybe at the bottom of the breath. And notice the sensations. Broadening of the chest, kind of that tingling energy through the fingertips as you expand, and then that softening and sinking of the shoulders, relaxing the upper back, the traps, the muscles at the top of the shoulders. We'll go twice more. It's really simple, but it can feel really kind of expansive in the body, expansive in the breath. Exhale, let the hands float gently down by the sides. Let the shoulders be soft, and from here, all we're going to do is simply move through the neck. So we'll start by dropping the right ear over towards the right shoulder. It doesn't matter if you've done a different side, because we're going to do them all anyway. So if you're on a different side to me, it doesn't matter. Let the head drop, let the head hang heavy. The breath is steady, and you might notice a stretching sensation down the left side of the neck and into the top of the left shoulder. It might feel interesting and good, perhaps, to sort of begin to satellite dish this left arm around. Noticing the sensations here. Trying not to collapse on the right side of the waist as best you can. When you're ready, let the left arm go. Draw the head back through to center. And then simply let the left ear drop to the left shoulder. Lengthen the right side of the neck. Total softness at the jaw, in the face. Let it be pretty easy and relaxed. Trying not to collapse in your left side waist. And you might begin to kind of reach through the right arm if that feels good for you. If that feels way too intense, it feels gritty, tingly in a way that you don't like, you're welcome to leave it out. If it feels gritty and tingly in a way that you do like, that's fine. It's a completely safe place to be. If you're just noticing, if you're getting the tingling, it's adhesions that interfere with the brachial plexus, the nerves in the upper arm, which is fine. It's just the muscles are a little tight, that's all. When you're ready, you'll let the right arm go. You'll draw the head back up through center, inhaling. As we exhale, all we're going to do is look out over the right shoulder. So keeping the chin level, drawing out over the right shoulder, noticing perhaps stretching sensations in the jaw, the front of the throat. Inhale to bring it back through to center. Exhale to look over to your left. So really simple movements, but again, seeing if you can kind of bring your whole body into the movement. When you're ready, bring it back through center. We'll just start to find a little bit of more general movement through the neck. So you're welcome to take this quite freely and intuitively. You might choose to gently circle through the neck, or you might just like a bit of a circle, maybe rock and roll back through the same kind of semicircle or quarter of a circle. Or maybe you just sort of nudge left and right with the neck. You can go all the way around, a big rotation. Any little intuitive movement you like. Going to work into a bit of twisting today, and it's nice to kind of have this awareness of how the neck is feeling at all angles when we start to come into twisting, because we twist through the spine, but the neck is also a part of the spine. And in fact, actually, our cervical spine, our neck, is the most kind of flexible part of the spinal column. When you're ready, draw yourself back through to center. And from here, I'm going to do this from the side so you can see it. You're going to activate your fingertips, reaching down towards the floor, and just let the hands sweep slightly back behind you. And as they do, you're going to squeeze the bum, squeeze your glutes, press your hips forwards. So you're creating this kind of space in the chest, a natural lift through the front of this chest, but you're also pushing the hips forward. So it's not a kind of ski pose. You've got the body pressing forwards, the arms reaching back. From there, you're very welcome, if you want to, if you've got the space to interlace the fingers behind you. You're keeping the body more or less upright. We're not hinging into a big back bend, even if you've got one, but you're thinking about reaching that fist away from the body, hips pressed forwards, forwards, forwards. And if you want to, you're welcome to let the chin drop to the chest. So again, a very different sensation in the top of the shoulders and the back of the neck. We're going to breathe here. Come back to that sensation of buoyancy, springiness in the knees. Let go of any holding or rigidity there. Keep the hips pressing forwards, keep the breath easy and relaxed. From here, when you feel ready, you're gently going to release your grip and bring your hands onto the top of your bum with the fingertips pointing down. So as if you were sliding your hands into the pockets of your jeans, but just at the top of that movement. Let the elbows hug back towards one another, and as much or as little as you like, you're going to squeeze your hips forwards and lean the body back into your back bend. So the hands really anchor your lower back, keeping your lower back supported and safe. You squeeze the bum a lot, push the hips forwards a lot, and lift through the chest to find that back bend. As much or as little as makes sense in your body. No sharp pain, no real discomfort at this point either. Maybe the sensations of things becoming a little bit less stuck, but no sharp pain. When you're ready, pull the belly in to draw yourself back up to neutral. Nice. From here, we're going to inhale the arms up and out, up and overhead. Take your time with it. Notice the way the shoulder blades kind of creak their way down the back body, especially from that really exaggerated, retracted position. Exhaling, you're going to draw the hands down and in through heart center. So we'll find the hands in this prayer position just in front of the chest. You're going to take an inhale and lift the chest towards the thumbs. Exhale, you're going to sit the bum low into a chair pose. So take your time in coming down here. We're just here for a couple of breaths, just starting to think about, so the places we've been bending backwards. We're here thinking about stabilizing, low belly stabilizing, back is strong. It doesn't have to be your deepest possible squat. You just want to feel these muscles in the back light up as they kind of keep you steady here. A couple of breaths, easy, kind of manageable squat, somewhere you can breathe freely. We'll hold here for one last full round of breath. Inhaling. Exhaling slowly. When you're ready, push the floor away. Inhale, let the arms rise up and overhead. Come to stand, lovely. Exhaling, we're going to bend the knees a lot. Imagine you're holding that expensive vase and you don't want to break it when you put it down on the floor. So you're going to bend the knees a lot to lay it down on the floor carefully. From here, you're coming into your forward fold and you're welcome to move in any way you like in this forward fold. Maybe you want to pedal out the legs, bend one knee then the other. Maybe you want to shake the head no or nod the head yes. If you don't fancy being in a forward fold for whatever reason, if you've got a head rush or if you're feeling a bit sinusy, that's always a reason to dodge a forward fold. You're very welcome to rest your elbows on your knees and just keep your head lifted if that suits you better. From this forward fold position, we're going to very carefully and gently draw ourselves down to a little squat. So fingertips are on the floor just out in front of you to support you. As you put a bend in the knees, let the heels roll away from the mat. Bring yourself down to a little squat. Often when we do this squat position, we have our feet right close together side by side, but we don't want that here. We want this hip width distance position through the feet. Once you've got yourself down into your little squat position, we're going to draw ourselves carefully up and away from the floor. So seeing just how it feels to bring the fingertips away from the floor. And if you're not very stable, those fingertips are welcome to touch down. Bring yourself up and away from the floor. Perhaps you can bring the hands up to find prayer at heart center. We'll take a steady breath here. So noticing how this sensation of length in the back body feels. We're going to come back to it. Inhaling. Exhaling, let the fingertips come to find the floor, and they're going to be just out in front of the body. So just out in front of the body, the fingertips find the floor. Let your left hand come to find your left hip. Leave your right fingertips where they are, and as you inhale, you're going to turn the body out towards that left shoulder, and see if you can come back to that sensation of length in the spine. You could, if you want to, slide this left hand around onto your lower back. So the palm of the hand is on the lower back as you roll the left shoulder back and forth. Breathing all the time, noticing this twisting sensation. Again, watching how much you bring the neck into that twist. When you're ready, gently reversing back out the way you came. So hand to the hip, bring yourself back to neutral. Left hand comes down. We do exactly the same on the other side. So right hand comes onto the right hip. Take your time, take an inhale breath to find that length. And exhale to rotate the body out in the direction of your kind of left elbow. Follow the left elbow. As the left elbow hooks back in space, and you're very welcome if you want to slide that hand onto the lower back. So again, length, length, length. Almost as if your fingertips weren't touching the floor, you are lifted here. When you're ready, slide the hand back, reversing back to center. And from here, we'll bring both hands to the ground. We'll let the knees spill out a little bit wider, and we're going to reach the bum back as we round the body forward. So the opposite to where we've just been.
Your heels might touch down on the floor, they might not, but they are reaching down towards the floor as you let the body round. From here, when you're ready, fingertips to stabilize you as you very gently roll off your toes and bring your knees to the ground. Knees come down to the floor. Untuck the toes behind you, and maybe you want to just give the feet a little tap on the mat. So this little pedal on the mat is so nice for kind of bringing the feet back to life, kind of especially when you've had that tension wound up in the ankles. You're welcome to give them a little bit of a wiggle if you want to. So from here, we're going to come up to standing on the knees. So a little challenge for you. Again, the same way we came into that squat, this is something slightly different, but we're going to just hold in a manageable place for a couple of breaths. We're going to think about lengthening the tailbone down and scooping the hips underneath this. So you're pressing the hips forwards in space, squeezing the bum and pushing the hips forwards. Arms are active by the sides. You've got this little kind of tingly activation in the fingertips. And all you're going to do from here is bring the body back, leaning back until you feel the fronts of the thighs kick into action. And it might be that you can go a long way. It might be that you only need to go a couple of centimeters. As soon as you feel them switch on, that's where you're going to pause and breathe. Easy breath. Tops of the feet push into the floor. Squeeze the bum, hips push forwards. Last breath here. When you're ready, bring it all the way back up to the top. Let the hands find the floor. Fingertips are coming down. You're going to tuck the toes underneath you, and we're making our way from here to our downward facing dog, which hopefully will feel like a lovely place to stretch off the legs. So when you're ready, inhaling to coil the spring and exhaling to press the hips high. And we'll meet there in your downward facing dog. I've come in a bit short. If you, like me, have made that down facing dog a strange shape, you're very welcome to adjust it. You don't have to stay exactly where you land every time. You might choose to move in your downward facing dog, to pedal the legs, dropping one heel and then the other. Maybe you want to shake the head no or nod the head yes. Remember that you're anchoring the weight back. So as much as you can, you're giving the weight of the pelvis back to the feet, back to the legs. When you're ready, bring yourself to stillness in your down dog. Take an inhale through the nose if you can. Exhale, have a sigh through the mouth. From here, when you're ready, inhale to look forwards between your hands. Exhale, you're going to walk the feet up towards the hands, and we'll meet back in our forward fold, hanging out long over the legs. Maybe you want a bit of a wiggle, a bit of a pedal, any little movement you like. Feet are staying hip width distance apart for now. Put a bend in the knees, take an inhale breath. Bring the fingertips up and overhead as you rise to stand. Exhale, let the hands come down, finding heart center. Hands come down to find heart center, and you're going to heel toe the feet so they are side by side. So bring them right in, big toes touching, heels touching, legs zipped up together, just for this little next moment that we're coming into. So this is very similar. This is sort of a build on from that twist we did in our squat pose. So find yourself heels and toes side by side. Take an inhale breath, lift your chest. Exhale, you're going to sit the bum low, come into your chair pose. And again, we're looking for manageable chair pose, a chair pose that feels reasonable, that feels like a place where it's okay to breathe easy. Big inhale lifts the chest. And as you exhale, bring your left hand onto your left hip. Inhale, lift your chest again. Exhale, reach your right hand down to the outside of your left knee. And as you do, you can let that left hand spin up and onto the lower back. So your choice how deep you're in here in this shape. Hand can flip onto, so palm of the hand finds its way onto the sacrum. You've got that encouragement to lengthen the tailbone downwards from the hand. Your breath is steady here. So one more breath. Exhale to unwind. Bring yourself back to hands at heart center. We're going to do exactly the same on the other side. You don't need to come up to stand. Take an inhale breath. Exhale, right hand to right hip. Inhale breath. Exhale, left hand reaches across to the outside of the left knee, back of the hand against the outside of the left knee, as the right hand spins around onto your lower back. Your choice how far into this shape you're going to sit.
If you glance down, you want to be able to see those big toes. The knees aren't obscuring the toes. Take an inhale breath here. Exhale to reverse your weight up and out. Back to your chair, sit the bum low. Inhale, sweep fingertips up overhead as you press to stand. Exhale, hands can come down however you like, whatever works for you. And if you're not there already, I'm going to ask you to take a couple of steps to the back of your mat, which is not my usual instruction. So take your time and bring yourself to the back of your mat. Bring your feet to hip width distance apart. And we're just going to spend a bit of time coming into the soles of the feet. So step your right foot out in front of you and just give your right foot a little bit of a roll into the mat. So circling the right foot as you press it down into the ground, pressing down the ball of the foot, outside edge of the foot, heel of the foot. Some of you have done this before. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle. You're just waking the sole of the foot up. As you do this, see if you can really notice the contact the skin makes with the mat. The skin of our feet and our hands is actually really hard because it does such a good job of perceiving sensation. And by sensation, I sort of mean heat, hot, cold. Don't touch that, it's on fire. That's what our hands and feet tend to do. Don't walk here, it's sharp. Don't touch that, it's dangerous. It's interesting and difficult for us to kind of tap into feeling through those surfaces. Because we can identify easily the handle of the saucepan is hot. The towel off the radiator is fluffy and warm. But can we identify how it feels when we touch it? Where's the pressure? How does that interact through the leg? Let's switch sides. So bringing the right foot back and then taking the left foot out in front. And this always makes a real disaster of my mat. I end up sort of screwing it into a kind of rosette. You might notice actually as well, the other thing that's interesting to observe is the places that it feels good to press your foot down. So there might be points where you think, oh, that feels lovely, to really get some pressure through the sole of the foot and into the floor. So just sort of waking up the skin of the foot. You can take it in both directions. So you can roll both ways, bring yourself back. You might just rock the body weight forwards and backwards. If you're struggling to keep that roll going, you can make other little movements if you want to. We'll take a couple more breaths here. Again, really, how does it feel? Not what are you feeling, how does it feel? It's an interesting distinction to make. All right, when you're ready, bring the feet back underneath the hips. Left foot comes back up to match with right, and you're stood at the back of the mat. You're going to walk. It's just a walk, it's nothing super technical. We're going to start on the right foot, so the right foot's stepping out first, and all you're going to do is walk in slow motion to the front of the mat. So it's the right foot lifts away from the floor. Notice how it feels to peel the skin of the right foot away from the floor. Let it step out in front of you, your natural normal distance. Let the heel come down. Notice the foot rolling onto the mat. Body weight transfers now into the right leg. Notice the left foot peels away from the floor. Left foot lifts off the mat. Left foot steps out in front. Maybe you strike with the heel or maybe the ball of the foot, whatever feels natural to you, but slow it right down. It's tricky, but we'll do it a couple of times, you'll get to grips with it. This time, as the right foot comes away from the floor, can you lift the right knee up towards the chest? So exaggerating that step, you can interlace the fingers and just give that right knee a bit of a hug in towards the body. So catching hold of it and giving it a bit of a hug in is a nice place to get some movement through the ankle if you want to. It's also a good place to check in on the balance because you've got that anchor, you're not doing the work of lifting the leg with the muscle. You can kind of create this length in the body. The tailbone reaches down, the belly draws in. You're very upright. Your breath is easy and relaxed. From here, when you're ready, you're going to release your grip on the right knee. Take an inhale breath, reach the arms overhead. And exhale, the body reaches forwards as the toes reach back. So you're just using the body like a counterbalance to let those right toes find the floor, fingertips find the ground, right knee finds the ground. So it's not that I'm asking you to come into a mega balance or find a really exaggerated yoga pose. It's more that I'm asking you to slow it down, and that's what makes it difficult. So if you're struggling with the speed, don't worry, I'm the same. That's what's making it an interesting challenge. We'll let the right hand find the floor. We'll untuck the right toes. And I want you to take your left hand and reach it down to the inside of your right wrist. You can't see me doing it because my foot's in the way. So palm of the hand finds the inside of the wrist. And from there, when you inhale, you're going to stroke the left hand up the right arm, across the center of the chest until the elbow points towards the ceiling or something like towards the ceiling, and then you'll let it unfurl, inhaling up the top. Exhaling, you're going to simply reverse. Let the hand come back to find the chest and stroke its way back down, all the way down to the right wrist. We're going to do that twice more at your own pace. Inhaling to stroke your way up and open. Exhaling to draw the body back in close. Last one, inhaling to rotate. Notice it creep up from the lower back, middle back, into the neck as you look up at the hand. Exhale to unwind. Left hand strokes its way back down the right arm and finds the floor. From here, fingertips find the mat. Both hands are on the inside of your left foot. Let your left foot creep across to the outside edge of the mat slightly so that you can kind of fingertip creep your way forwards into your lizard pose. And as you come through into lizard, the chest lifts and you sort of shine the collarbones out in front. So as if you're trying to shoot lasers out of the points of your collarbone. Breath is steady. When you're ready, choose an exhale breath, one that makes sense, and you're going to let the hips move back in space as you round the body in, tucking chin to chest. If you really like this sensation of rounding in, you're welcome to amp it up by bringing the left thumb and forefinger in an L shape into the crease of the back of the left knee. And as you anchor, hand against knee, you can exaggerate this rounding sensation in the back foot. We're going to start to string the two of those movements together. So you're going to release left hand and creep forwards on your inhale. You're going to anchor left hand and pull backwards on your exhale. Go one more time. Inhale, draw forwards, lizard. Exhale, pull back, grounding in. Using the hand or not using the hand, whatever feels right. From there, release left hand to the floor and draw yourself to neutral. So two hands either side of that front foot, back body in neutral. Hips aren't leaning too far forwards or too far back because we're going to tuck the back toes. Pop the back knee off the mat and step the left foot to join the right foot so we find our strong plank pose. We'll get to strong plank. Take an inhale breath. Exhale to gently release your knees to the floor. Inhale breath. Exhale to gently release your body to the floor. Again, it's not that I'm asking you to do anything that's incredibly challenging. It's that I'm asking you to slow it down. So if you find yourself needing to pick up the pace, you're very welcome to. We're going to bring the fingertips out wide to this variation, this serpent variation of cobra. We're going to take the feet maybe just sort of hip width distance apart, and if there's aggravation in your lower back, you can go even wider with that. Fingertips are on the mat like little spiders, the palms of the hands away from the floor. Elbows pop up towards the ceiling, and as you inhale, you're going to squeeze the bum, press the hip points into the mat, and rise up and away from the floor. Exhale to lower. We're going to go twice more, but with a slight difference. So, listening carefully, on your inhale breath, you're going to look towards your right hand and draw yourself up in the direction of that right hand, right elbow. Exhale to lower, almost as if you're coming through a semicircle towards the right. And we're going to do the same on the left now. So inhale, look at left hand, bring the body up through a semicircle towards your left. Exhale to lower back down through that semicircle, back to center. Hands come under the shoulder blades. From here, tucking the toes underneath as you press your hips back to your heels. Bring yourself through this kind of long body stretch. And when you feel ready,
We'll meet in downward facing dog. Exhaling away to downward facing dog. Hips are high. You're welcome to pedal, to stretch out. Any little movements that you feel like you want. Taking whatever you need. In your own time, a slightly different instruction. You're going to look forwards between your hands. Inhale. Exhale, bend your knees. As you walk your hands back, you'll bring yourself to your little squat pose at the back of the mat. If there's a wobble on your way there, do what you need to do to adjust it. Inhaling, you're going to lift the chest, lengthen, maybe the fingertips come away from the floor. Exhaling, you're going to reach the arms out in front as you round the body in. Maybe touch into chest, maybe the heels touch down. Inhaling, will rise. Little balance challenge. Exhale, we'll round in. Last one rounding in like this. From here, anchor down through the feet. Let the hips lift. Coming to your forward fold. Doesn't have to be straight legs. Maybe the belly is still on the thighs. And from there, drag the hands in as you gently roll your way up to stand. Take your time. Rolling your way up, stacking one vertebrae on top of the next. As you draw yourself up to your neutral spine, whatever that feels like in your body. Little wiggle of the shoulders, a roll of the head and the neck if you want it. We found ourselves back at the back of the mat. We're going to go through that little pattern again on the other side. So finding your footing, maybe steadying your breath. When you're ready, it is your left foot stepping forwards first. So your left foot is going to slow motion, almost before the foot even leaves the floor. Think about what's happened in the body. You've gone for the intention of walking. Your hips have shifted slightly right. Your chest is lifting in the direction that you're going into. Left foot peels away from the mat. Stepping the left foot out in front, slow motion, that was a bit quick. Feeling the skin of the foot come into contact with the floor. Notice the body weight transfer across. The right toes peel away from the mat. Right foot lifts up and finds its way out in front. Slow motion, land the foot. Skin of the foot lands on the floor. This time, the left knee comes up and in towards the chest. So exaggerate that step, bring it all the way up. Interlace the fingers, you can give the left knee a hug in towards your chest. You might notice that this is an interesting sensation, interesting place for the lower back. So it's quite a big movement in the hip, this. You're welcome to roll at the ankle if you want to. See if you can send the tailbone anchoring downwards, the crown of the head lifting high. Any last little bits of movement that you'd like. And then when you're ready, you're going to release your grip on the knee. Keep it lifted. Inhale, fingertips rise up. Exhale, expressive and slow as you bring the body forwards and step the left toes back long behind you. You might notice that one side of the body is much easier to balance on than the other. Ooh, little descent there. Fingertips find the floor, the left knee finds the floor. If you've come in a bit wonky, so you can see how I've come in a bit short, I'm just going to bring that right foot forwards to give myself enough space. The left hand is going to find the mat. So you can go here, left palm of the hand, left fingertips, or you can make a loose fist and gently rest the knuckles on the floor if that suits your wrists better. You can also always stack a couple of books under the hand if you need a bit of lift. Right hand comes over to find the inside of the left wrist, and you're going to begin that stroke up and open. The right hand travels up the forearm, the inside of the elbow, past the shoulder, the elbow of the right hand, right arm, points towards the ceiling, and then you unfurl the right arm high. Exhaling, you bend at the elbow and slide the hand back across the chest, rolling your way all the way back down. Stroke the hand down the arm. Again, not what are you feeling, but how does it feel? Inhaling to rise high, you've got two more. Exhaling to stroke your way back in. Notice the way the hips kind of allow this movement to take place and what is needing to happen there for that to happen. What is needing to happen at the hips for the movement to happen in the back body. Too many happens in one sentence there. Bring yourself back to the floor. Right hand finds the floor on the inside of the right foot, and you can take the right foot out slightly wider to give yourself more room. We're going to make that, we're going to go slow, the first one, for that transition between our lizard and then our kind of rounded shape. So fingertips spider walk you forwards as you draw the chest out into lizard. Hips can really get dropped low here towards your heel, if that makes sense for you. Breath is steady. And as you exhale, you're going to pull the hips back, tuck the chin, round yourself in. If you want to exaggerate this sensation, it's that L shape between the thumb and the forefinger on the right hand that finds its way into the crease of the right knee, and you can anchor against the back of that knee to really tuck and round yourself in. Breath is steady. And from here, gently releasing the right hand back to the floor, we're going to string those two together. So it will be an inhale to lengthen out in front. And then exhale to pull back, to round in, maybe using the hand as a little anchor. We'll go one more time. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to round, tuck chin to chest, round your way in. From this rounded back position, we'll draw ourselves back forwards and pull to neutral, letting the right foot come back through and slightly closer towards the center line. The right hand finds the floor and we'll tuck the back toes off the mat. Tuck the back toes, popping the back knee off the mat, that's what I'm trying to say. From there, we're stepping it back to find plank. We're strong to our plank pose. Take an inhale breath here in plank. Exhale to slowly, gently, carefully release the knees. Inhale there. Exhale to slowly and carefully bring the body to the floor. From here, hands come out a little wider than your mat, feet can separate to be hip width distance apart. Something slightly different again this time. The first one is in neutral. Squeeze the bum, press the tops of the feet down, inhale to rise, completely neutral, head in line with the spine. Exhale to lower. This second one, we're going to inhale and rise through neutral, but at the top, you're very welcome if you want to look over your right shoulder. Exhale to lower, bring the head back to center. Last one. Inhale to rise through center. Look over the left shoulder, perhaps. Exhale to lower the body all the way down to the ground. Hands come underneath the shoulder blades. You're going to tuck the toes, push the hips back to the heels. Take this long body stretch on your way to downward facing dog. From here, when you're ready, you'll exhale your way into downward facing dog and we'll meet there. Having a bit of a pedal, a wiggle, any little movement that you feel like you want, you're interested in, you're very welcome to. And then from this downward facing dog, we'll inhale and look forwards between the hands. Exhale and bend the knees. We'll bring the body in small as we walk our way back to this little squat pose. Inhaling, you'll lift the chest, maybe the fingertips come away from the floor. Exhale, you'll reach the hands out in front and push back to round, maybe the heels drop slightly towards the mat, chin to chest. So again, same two little movements. Inhale to rise, lengthen the back body, lift the chest. Exhale to lower, rounding the back body. Chin tucks to the chest. From here, fingertips to steady you. The hips are going to lift and bring you into your forward fold. The knees can stay bent, maybe the belly is still on the thighs. And from there, in your own time, you drag the hands in, tuck the tailbone, and roll yourself slowly up to standing. Really take your time. Make the most of stacking the back body in that perfect alignment. Shoulders roll down the back. Maybe you want to wiggle, roll the shoulders. Maybe you want to make some movements through the neck. Anything that feels good here in your body. And we'll draw ourselves gently back to stillness, finding ourselves back in our standing position. Maybe just allowing, we talk about this too much, but in our traditional Tadasana, we find this very slight outward rotation through the upper arm bones. So if you think about outwardly rotating your biceps to face forwards, there is just a very slight turn in the hands. It's not
that I'm asking you to think about the movement originating from the palms of the hands. Because if I ask you to turn your hands forwards, you'll just turn your hands forwards. Our wrists are very bendy. So what I want you to do is think about this very subtle and slight turning out of the upper arm bone, just giving you a little bit more space across the chest. Your breath is steady here. And it's from this stillness, from this Shavasana, that we're going to begin that mindful walk again. We're going one more time through a similar pattern, but we'll add on. So it's your right foot that starts the movement. Right foot begins to peel away from the floor. Body weight shifts to the left. Notice it. Right foot steps out in front. Right heel finds the mat perhaps, and the right foot comes into contact with the floor. Transfers the body weight across. Left foot steps forwards. Left foot finds the floor, and the right knee lifts to the chest. Same as we did in the last one. You're very welcome to give that knee a cuddle in towards the body if that suits you, bringing it up and in and noticing the sensations in the hip. Perhaps, if you are interested, you might choose, a little bit of a wobble there, I'm not on an even piece of carpet, I'll tell you that for free. You might choose to leave your right hand where it is and bring your left hand to your left hip if you feel like you've got the stability for that. Inhaling to lift the chest and exhaling to look back over the left shoulder as the left elbow hugs back in space. It's all optional. Bring yourself back through to center when you're ready. You're going to release your grip of this right knee. You're going to inhale both arms up and overhead. Exhaling is that sweeping, very kind of expressive step back. This time the fingertips are going to stay away from the floor, but they're going to be reaching forwards out in front. So you find yourself kind of in your arrow lunge, the body shooting out in front. Take an inhale breath here. Exhale, bring the hands to heart center as you right the body upright. Maybe you introduce a slight bend in that back knee, just to make things feel a little bit more manageable as we take our steady breath in our high lunge, sorry. Inhaling here. Exhale, you're going to slide your left hand to your left hip. So you sort of know this little pattern, but we've not done it in this shape with our legs before. Inhale, lifts the chest. Exhale, slides the right hand to the outside edge of the right knee as the left hand tracks around onto the lower back. You're breathing steady here. You found your way into your twisted lunge. If you feel at this point like you've got a lot more space to move into, this might be a good place to stay. If you're happy here, breathe here. If you feel like you've got a lot more space to head into, perhaps the right elbow can find the right knee and the hands could make their way back to heart center. So you're using the hands now like a little anchor to rotate through the chest, pressing the right knee, the back of the right knee up towards the ceiling, pulling the belly away from the thigh. Take an inhale breath. Whichever version of this lunge you're in, you're going to gently rotate your way up and out. Inhale the arms overhead. Exhaling, let the fingertips gently come down to find the floor. Both hands come onto the inside of your left foot. You'll take your left foot slightly out to the side. And you know this little pattern, but again, we've done it with the back knee lowered. So we're going to see what it feels like to bring the back knee lifted. You'll inhale and draw yourself forwards, finding your way into an active version of lizard. You'll exhale, you can find your anchor point if you want to, and you'll round yourself back, letting the hips lift, and maybe moving something closer to a straight front leg. It probably won't go straight, don't worry about it. Inhale to slide the hands to the floor, pull yourself through to lizard. We'll go twice more. Exhale to let the hips rise. Maybe you use your little anchor behind the knee to round yourself in. Last one. Slide the body forwards. Roll off the back toes. Let the chest lift. Laser beams from your collarbones. Exhale, pull back. Maybe find your anchor, thumb hooked behind the knee, chin touched to the chest. Right fingers are giving a little push into the floor. And from this position, we're going to draw ourselves back towards neutral. So the left foot's going to come back into the center line. The fingertips are finding the floor. We're just going to have a little stretch here before we make our way to plank. So we're going to let the right knee find the mat. And simply send the hips
back in space to draw your way into your runner's lunge. Let the right toes peel their way off the floor. So they're pulling up towards your face. The toes pull back hard towards your face. The hips are reaching for the back of the mat, but they're not reaching towards your back heel. Again, we can work the steady breath here if we want to, inhaling for length in the front of the body and exhaling to bow the body forwards over the leg. We'll go one more. Roll your way back into the left foot. Plant the palms of the hands. Pop the back knee off the floor and send the left foot back to join the right. Hit your strong plank pose. If you've got it, you're very welcome to lower down from plank this time, taking an inhale breath at the top and exhaling to lower the knees and then the body, or maybe the body as one whole piece to the mat. Hands are coming underneath the shoulder blades. Sorry, that's a lie. Hands are moving out from underneath the shoulder blades to find their way into this sort of wider serpent-like cobra. So the hands stack directly under the elbows pop up towards the ceiling. Tops of the feet push down into the floor. And I'm going to invite you to find your own version of this movement in these next two little flows through. So you've got a little base, a little blueprint for where we usually go. You're welcome to make it kind of snaky and interesting. The only real rule is that your inhale lifts you up and your exhale lowers you down. Perhaps you lift and lower just through neutral, lengthening the body. Perhaps you like the sensation of making your way through these spaces at the side. Maybe you're rolling through a circle. We've got one more breath, I think. Exhale to lower. Hands slide under the shoulder blades. Push the top, tuck the toes underneath you and push your way back. So there's a long body stretch on your way to downward facing dog. Press the hands into the mat, tuck toes, and when you're ready, hips lift high into down dog. You're welcome to move. Remember, you don't have to stay exactly where you've landed. So if you've come in a bit short or it feels like your hands aren't even or your feet are in a weird place, you're welcome to adjust. When you're ready, we're going to make that same transition, padding the palms of the hands back towards the back of the mat as we tuck ourselves into that little squat. This time, instead of lifting and lowering the chest or rounding the back body, we're simply going to make our transition to standing. But we're going to make it slowly with control, bringing the hands to heart center, taking an inhale breath here, and exhaling to press to standing. See if you can come to standing on your tiptoes. The body comes up to one lovely long straight line. You're high on the tiptoes. You're going to inhale, fingertips rise up. Broaden through the arms. Take up as much space as you possibly can. Exhale to lower the heels and the hands to heart center. Nice. You're at the back of the mat. We'll make our way through that same pattern one more time. I'm just going to adjust my mat because I've got very, very close to the wall. I'm running out of space to move. Okay, so at the back of the mat, we find ourselves steady. We find that subtle suggestion of the upper arm bones creating space for the chest. Actually, you can see the difference there when I do it from the side. So it's just a very subtle rotation outwards through the upper arm bone. The chest has a bit more room. We start on the left foot this time. The left foot peels away from the floor. The body weight transfers, and we'll step the left foot out in front. Ooh, I land that left foot a little quicker than my right. Transfer the body weight, noticing the way this changes in your body. The right foot steps out in front. Notice the skin of the right foot coming into contact with the floor. The left knee lifts into the chest this time. And if you want to, you're welcome to catch it, give it a bit of a hug into the body. And then from here, it's the right hand will find the right hip. You'll lift through the chest with an inhale. And as you exhale, you'll look out over that right shoulder, letting the right elbow hug back. Inhale your way back to center.
When you are ready, take your time. You might reset, readjust if you need to, but when you feel ready, you'll release your grip on the left knee and inhale the fingertips to rise up overhead. Exhale, take your time. Sweep your way into that arrow lunge. Send the left toes back, 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 back behind you. Fingertips are reaching long out in front. Take an inhale breath here. Use your exhale to right yourself. Come to upright, hands to heart center. Maybe just a subtle bend in the back knee if you need it. So the bend in the back knee is really useful if jamming the back knee out to straight aggravates your lower back. So you can see how my hips are really pressing up into my lower back. If I put a little bend in my back knee, my pelvis just levels slightly more. And then from there, maybe you work it out to straight, keeping the pelvis level rather than letting the tailbone jack up. So finding hands at heart center, coming into that twist. When you're ready, using an inhale to lift the chest. And an exhale to slide the right hand to the right hip. An inhale to lift the chest. And an exhale to slide the back of the left hand to the outside edge of the right knee. Letting the right shoulder roll back out of your line of sight. And then from there, you can stay here and breathe here. Or if you feel like you've got it, you might slide the back of the left arm down the outside edge of the right knee until the left elbow meets the knee. And from there, it will be hands to heart center, using the hands to create a little anchor to turn through the body. I should have done this facing you, my apologies. Shine the back of the left knee up towards the ceiling. So reach the back of the left heel towards your mat. Take an inhale breath here. Exhale to unwind, to bring yourself back up to your lunge. From this position, fingertips will reach up. Exhale, let the fingertips find the floor. So, both hands come onto the inside of the right foot, and the right foot can move out to the edge of the mat. And we take this active version of lizard here with that slight kind of pyramid variation. Let me turn around. Become more useful over here. So when you're ready, the hips are reaching forwards, the chest is lifting forwards, we'll come to lizard. Almost as if you're going to roll off the back toes. Exhaling, you let the hips lift high. Perhaps you find your anchor behind the knee and you'll press chin to chest round in. Go twice more through that little pattern. So inhaling, fingertips find the floor. Snake the chest through to lizard. Exhale, tuck the chin to the chest. Round back. Pull the belly off the thigh if you can. Inhale to lizard. Snake everything through. Rolling light off the left toes. Last one. Exhale to round. Almost a straight right leg, perhaps. And then from here, we simply move into a stretch. The fingertips come to find the floor. The right foot shuffles back into the center line and the left knee descends to the mat. From there, we'll press the hips back, peel the right toes off the floor, lengthen your leg into your runner's lunge. If it feels like this right heel is too close to the body to get a decent stretch, you can lift it further away. An easy breath. Ready. Let the body weight roll back into the right foot. Plant the palms, tuck the back toes, pop the back knee away from the mat and step your way back to plank. So right foot stepping back to join left foot, the whole body in a long straight line. Take an inhale breath. Exhale and you go either knees and then chest or whole body in one piece. Fingertips out to the side, elbows pop up towards the ceiling. You're quite light on your fingertips. Try not to really grip the floor. You're quite light on the fingertips. The back of the body is doing most of the lifting here. And as you inhale, you've got 3 breaths to freestyle your way into this serpent-like cobra. Lengthening, lifting the chest, shoulders, head on the inhale. Exhale, lower yourself down. Last breath here, taking it in any direction you like. Hands slide under your shoulder blades, tuck the back toes, press your way back, long body stretch. From here, when you are ready, we go to downward facing dog, but there's no hurry, no rush. You take your time. Anchor your hands, you'll lift the hips high. Nice. From this downward facing dog, when you're ready, you're going to walk your way back. So bending the knees, you'll tuck the body in. You'll pad the hands, that little pause, back to sit low in your squat. Getting that moving is quite tricky, but once it's moving, it seems to make sense. So this is our rise to stand, our kind of final big expressive gesture of this little pattern. Hands come to heart center if you can. Light on your toes, you'll take an inhale breath. And as you exhale, push the floor away as though you're on hydraulics. You'll rise to stand. See if you can keep the heels away from the mat, up on your tippy toes. Inhale, fingertips lift. Broaden the space between your hands. See if you can lift through the chest, look up. Maybe just the subtle hint of a back bend here. Exhale, the heels will lower. The hands will come to heart center. Take a steady breath. Nice. From here, just a couple of breaths before we make our way down to the mat. We're going to return to that little motif that we had right at the very start. We're going to let the arms hang by the sides. Shoulders soften. When you're ready, palms of the hands turn up as you inhale. Breath rises up and out. Exhale, hands float their way back down by the sides. Go 2 more breaths. Just coming back to our easy breath. Before we make our way to the floor, just coming back to this steady, regulated, kind of natural breath. 1 more. With this one, let the exhale breath dive you in, long over the legs, bending the knees as you come down. In this forward fold, you're very welcome if you want to take hold of opposite elbows and let the body hang out. We've got a couple of breaths here just to find any movements that feel good. When you're ready, releasing gently the hands to the floor, you're going to sit the hips low as you bring yourself for the very last time back into that little squat. Hands walk back behind you and you use the hands to help you guide the hips to the floor. So just a little transition to bring us down. Feet find the floor. Maybe, actually, yeah, maybe feels interesting and pleasant here to give the knees a bit of a hug with the elbows. Catch hold of the hands in front of you and lift through the chest. Last little moment of challenge in the body. On your inhale breath, if you can, you're going to reach the fingertips up overhead without letting the body round. And as you exhale, you're going to start to curl the body down towards the floor, and you're going to take your time. There will be bits of this that just happen faster than perhaps we want them to. See if you can keep control on your way down. Let the head touch down lightly if you can. And you've found your way to laying on your back. Once you've brought yourself down there, if you need to make adjustments, you're very welcome to. We're going to come through a last couple of movements. So not any exaggerated big shapes, but a couple of easy movements to just unwind the back foot. Unwinding the hips and kind of finalizing this twisting sensation that we've been playing around with. So when you're ready, the feet find the floor. You might just check you can brush the back of the heel with the fingertips when you reach down. So not so close that they're just there and you can grab them, but they do want to be a little reach away. We're going to come through our rolling bridge. So in your own time, you're going to inhale, press the feet into the floor, lift the hands and curl the tailbone away from the mat. From that position, you follow on, rolling the body off the floor as the hands rise up, arms reach overhead, hips press towards the ceiling. Exhale, you'll lower. Hands travel down by the sides, you roll through the upper back, the middle back, the lower back, the tailbone touches down your back where you began. And you're going to keep that going. 3 more breaths.
Take your time with it. Let the tailbone land down. See if you can come back to not what are you feeling, not what are the mechanics of this, but how does it feel? Are there bits of it that feel expressive? Are there bits of it that feel like you want to slow down or hurry up? We'll take one last breath. This time, you'll gently leave the arms overhead but relaxed, and you'll lower the body to the floor. Let the tailbone touch down. So with the arms soft overhead like this, we're going to let the knees windscreen wiper over towards our right. Let the knees sag over towards the right, keeping the feet where they are. So you roll onto the outside edge of the right foot, the inside edge of the left foot. So the body is soft, but in a kind of easy version of a twist. If you want to amp things up here, you might choose to reach both fingertips over to both sets of fingertips, both hands over towards your left as you inhale, activate, maybe press left foot into the mat and feel the left glute switch on. The left hip might lift and push out in front slightly. Exhale, you might let that soften completely. Draw the hands back into neutral. Draw the feet back onto the floor as you roll back through the pelvis. Do the same on the other side, letting both knees drop to the left. You're on the outside edge of the left foot, the inside edge of the right foot. And if you want to, you're very welcome to switch it on a little bit by reaching both hands over to your right, over towards your right, and maybe pushing the right foot into the floor, squeezing the right glute, letting the right hip lift a little bit. The exhale breath is going to let you lower down, let it all switch off. Let the soles of the feet find the floor, the knees track up towards the ceiling. From here, any final movements you feel like you need, and my suggestion would be to give the knees a hug in towards the body, but it's totally up to you, whatever feels right. And when you are ready, you'll bring yourself gently into your Shavasana, however that looks, whatever that feels like for your body in this moment. You'll let the legs perhaps be long, or maybe the soles of the feet on the floor. The hands can rest by the sides or on the belly or overhead or wherever makes sense. Draw yourself down into, very literally, your final resting pose. So the end of the practice, Shavasana, translates to final resting pose. Bring yourself into the pose where you can finally rest. Allow that ease to begin to kind of percolate through the body. To begin to spill out into every cell. A softness creeping its way through the tissues of the body, through muscle, through bone, through tendons and ligaments. Softness. A softening. Sinking into the floor. Allow your strong body this time to unwind. It's time to let go of holding, to let go of being rigid, and to simply drop into the support of the mat underneath you.
Notice the breath in the body. The cool air at the nostrils, the chest being rising on the inhale, the softening and falling back into the mat on the exhale. As this breath comes in, it brings with it into the body new fresh energy, new fresh life force. Perhaps an inhale breath comes in and can bring with it enough energy to fire up the wiggle of the fingertips. Maybe a bit of a point and stretch and flex of the feet, a roll of the ankles. Maybe you want to roll the wrists. Any little movements that you like the sensation of in the body. When you feel ready, there might be enough power in the inhale breath to reach the arms up overhead for a full body stretch, like a yawn, wringing the body out long from fingertips to toes. And then from there, draw the knees up into the chest and give yourself a bit of a hug. In your own time, rolling over onto your favourite side, whichever side feels right. Just pausing for a moment, dropping back into that softness. Before you press your way carefully, kindly, gently up to a comfortable seat. When you get to your comfortable seat, your eyes might be cast down towards the floor, or you might still have your eyes closed. You're settling into these sensations of the practice, to these last moments of the practice, final time, just noticing how the body feels right now. If you want to seal your practice, you're very welcome to. Maybe bringing the hands to heart center or bowing the head to the heart or anything else that feels right in the body. Thank you so much, guys.